fact, hit critical infrastructure in Iran, whether we're talking about power plants or whatever. The question was, wouldn't that punish the Iranian people more than the Iranian regime? And President Trump's response was that the Iranian people want freedom. They're willing to endure a little bit, to trade some suffering in order to have lasting freedom. And another question coming from a Fox News reporter asking President Trump, were there people in the U.S. military who opposed the U.S. going into Iran behind enemy lines to rescue the airmen? And President Trump said there were some people, but top leadership did not go against that. President Trump said it was a dangerous mission, but it was worth it in the end. And just to mention, there was no U.S. casualties in that operation. And meanwhile, Iran says it has formulated its response to ceasefire proposals by the U.S. Joining us now is retired U.S. Navy Captain Armin Kurdian. He's also a foreign policy and national security analyst, as well as a California State Senate candidate. Armin, so good to have you here. Thank you for staying with us here. So I want to start off with the question about this rescue mission of the U.S. airmen. Can you just talk to us about what does this demonstrate about the U.S. military's capability that, hundreds of people were sent behind enemy lines to rescue this person, and there were zero casualties?
Good afternoon, Don. It shows that there is no country in the world that has the logistical or tactical capabilities of the United States to pull off an operation like this. Just to give you a little bit of an example, Donald Trump has been really going after the Europeans for not helping escort ships going through the Straits of Hormuz. The fact of the matter is, if you look at the French and British navies, they are paltry size of what they used to be. They simply can't do what they used to be able to do. But the U.S. has maintained the ability to do this over a very long period of time. And people will complain about the tens and hundreds of billions of dollars that are spent in the Department of Defense, Department of War. And surely there are some places where maybe you could do things a little bit more efficiently. But the fact of the matter is you have to have that massive amount of investment in times of peace so that these few hours when you need that kind of capability, that you have it to be able to go in there and do that. And not only that, but to coordinate all of these assets to go in country and to avoid another Desert One kind of disaster that happened when we were trying to rescue the hostages under President Carter, to bring all of those assets together. The secure communications that have to happen, the logistics, the air refueling, the combat, the special operations, the wherewithal, and the decisive, the ability to make critical and necessary decisions in a very, very high pressure, time sensitive environment, such as to destroy those two aircraft on the ground instead of to try to rescue them, because frankly, at that point, those assets, they're expendable assets. They got rid of them. They're gone. But the airman was rescued. It is absolutely amazing what they did. And I think the Iranian regime, there's probably a lot of yelling going on inside of their headquarters as to how they allow this to happen.
Okay, so Armin, can you talk to us about the values or the ethos of the U.S. military of not leaving this person behind, even though there's a tremendous risk on the line? President Trump saying earlier it was a dangerous mission, but it was worth it. Can you talk to us about that?
Certainly. Now, if you look at any kind of search and rescue operation where you have Coast Guard or folks who are going after, say, an aircraft goes down or a ship is in distress and you're trying to rescue people, you're singularly focused of trying to rescue people and trying to save lives. It's really no different in this kind of situation, except for the fact that someone's shooting back at you, which adds a degree of difficulty at the same time to go in. But when you talk about the ethos, there is an excitement and a desire to lean forward in your saddle, lean over your skis, and lean forward as far as you possibly can. You want to get in there and you want to get it done because you're really excited and you are so bound and determined. You're focused in all of your training. Imagine the hundreds of thousands of men and women who were involved in this, the millions of hours of training that went into this, all the development for the high-tech systems, the stealth, the deception on the part of the CIA to draw off the Iranian forces, which was going to be necessary. As you remember, when the forces went in to rescue the first pilot, one aircraft ended up crash landing in Kuwait. Two other helicopters were badly damaged. Some American personnel were injured. This is a very serious situation, and despite the fact that Iran has been very, very badly mauled and beaten and embarrassed on a number of fronts, they can still hurt you here and there, and you'll never be able to completely eliminate that threat going forward. So they know what they're getting into. They know that someone could actually shoot at them, but they also know that that parts of the operation where they have no control over are out there protecting them. The B-1s and the Reapers providing close air support and enemy suppression, or the Growlers that are providing electronic attack and killing the radars. The folks who are doing the command and control, who are having all the information, being able to make real-time decisions about placement of assets in the right place so that they can actually do their job. It is a very, very complex but exceptionally well-oiled machine that allowed this operation to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's no other military in the world that can compete with the U.S. military. But Armin, let's also talk about the deal that President Trump wants to make with Iran. So part of that is opening the Strait of Hormuz. It's a very high-stakes situation right now. President Trump, seems determined that tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, is the absolute deadline. And power plants, he said in the press conference earlier, every single one of them is going to be hit. Bridges, every single one. Can I just ask you, what is your feeling on how much Iran wants to make a deal? What do they genuinely want to make a deal? Because yesterday they were just threatening to continue to hold on to the Strait of Hormuz, continuing to have a grip on the Strait of Hormuz even after the war ends.
I'm sure there's a lot of public rhetoric in the sense of wanting to continue the war and continue to punish the United States, considering the situation that they're actually in. From a cause and effect perspective, striking power plants, I know it's a threat, and I know you never say what you're not going to do. I don't know what kind of an impact that's going to have on Iran wanting to open up the Straits of Hormuz. I don't see it being successful in that sense. I could be wrong. I think you'd be a lot more successful if you focus all of your efforts to targets that would reopen the Straits of Hormuz, taking out targets, taking out missiles, on-call close air support that are going after boats and drones that are attacking tankers or potentially preventing tankers from moving through the area. So it is a little bit of a high-stakes game. I think that the president is genuinely trying to find a way to get out of this without escalating it more. My hope is that he'll come up with a reason to extend the deadline going forward. It is going to be much easier for Iran to exact damage to the Gulf states and their energy infrastructure and their power plants and refineries and liquid natural gas facilities, the oil terminals, all of those things than it is for us to, but there's a lot more damage that they can do on that side. There are potential options if you use small diameter bombs or very limited ordnance on some of these power plants and locations where, say, you hit a potential critical valve, it may shut down operations for like a day or two. They could easily repair it, but then you just take it out again without necessarily damaging or destroying the entire facility. That could be an option, but the Iranians may still not see it that way, and then just go scorched earth as far as they can, and it is focusing all of their weaponry, whatever's left of it, against the soft targets, which are really all over the Middle East and would be very hard to defend against.
Okay, but what is Iran's game plan at this point? If I'm putting myself in the Iranian regime's shoes, I don't know if President Trump is not going to follow through on its threats. So, why is it dragging its feet on making a deal? What is its goal, its game plan?
They want the regime to survive. They want to continue their Islamic revolution. They're fanatics that are in charge of this government, and there is a matter of rational irrationality that the Iranian clerical regime, that the supreme leader and the religious theocracy still has over the rest of that nation. So they're going to want to continue as a going concern, and they are looking for a way to save face in the world, because they got all their proxies that they're trying to support: the Houthi rebels, Hamas, Hezbollah. There are still Shiite militias in other parts of the Middle East that are still surviving in Syria. They want to continue to be able to influence those types of issues, And I think, frankly, in some ways, I think they are hoping to wait out the president because, they're watching the news and they are seeing a lot of the president's allies in Congress saying, they can read the tea leaves that they're saying, look, we're not going to let you continue this on ad infinitum. We're not going to give you $200 billion supplemental as well. So I think they're playing that waiting game, and that is probably their best strategy, just to try to survive as best as they possibly can, because the last 25 years have shown maybe you can wait the Americans out if you're patient enough. And the Chinese have shown it in the long game that they've been playing in the Western Pacific for the last several decades.
Okay, maybe one or two more questions here, Armin. So you're saying that Iran potentially could just wait out President Trump's term, but let's take Iran's threat at face value here. Iran said no country will be allowed to transit without its permission, talking about the Strait of Hormuz, of course. Does Iran have the ability to indefinitely control the strait even after the war?
If we were to do nothing about it and we were to get no help from the European allies, then they could, at the very least, impact operations for a very long time. Remember, you saw a couple of hits on tankers in the Western Persian Gulf. So one that was obviously empty, but it was badly hit. You hit a tanker full of oil that's going to spill. I mean, you might not just stop that one tanker, but you may cause such a huge conflagration and massive disaster that it may physically block the strait for an exceptionally long period of time. So it's not just a question of one tanker at a time. You could physically block it and Iran could do that. Of course, they did that, they'd be hurting themselves because they wouldn't be able to escort a lot of their oil going through the straits. But it also speaks to the time that we had in the past to continue to build a lot of infrastructure to eliminate or reduce the magnitude and the importance of the Strait of Hormuz as a passage. We could have built more pipelines to bring oil from certainly expensive, multi-billion-dollar enterprise, but to bring oil from the eastern coast of Saudi Arabia, the eastern coast of those Gulf nations across into the Red Sea, where it's much safer, and you don't have Iran able to influence those kinds of situations. So I would hope that perhaps going forward, this could be something that we could look into. But if you were to start today, you're talking maybe 5 or 6 years before you were able to start moving in the substantive quantities where the straits would not be an impact. So Iran is going to continue to try to exercise that leverage. That's all they have left. And the U.S., frankly, I think should devote more of its assets right now, because I think we've badly mauled a lot of their factories where they're building their missiles. We have to keep that strait open. We have to punish them as much as they can and make them pay a dear price for wanting to do that.
Right, like you said, that's the strait is the only thing that Iran has, and we have to keep it open. Just one last question here, and I don't know if this is a difficult question, but I ask a number of my guests this. But what do you think? How does this war end? Talk to us about the circumstances or pathways in which you think this war will end. What is the backdrop like?
Number one, you run out of targets. Number two, Iran finally capitulates. Number three, there is a coup inside of the country, and more moderate elements come in with the regular army, the Basij, and take out the leadership of the IRGC. That's one way to do it. And number four, Trump just decides to unilaterally declare victory. We did it, and then move on, and give Iran a little bit of something after having been badly damaged, and reduce its ability to influence its neighbors, and go forward. But one way or the other, he is coming under greater and greater pressure, not just from around the world, but also within the United States, to bring this to an end. And there isn't much appetite, if you look at the polling numbers amongst the American people, for this to go on a whole lot longer, especially considering the pain they're experiencing at the pump.
Yeah, also he has his own timeline to follow, which he said 2 to 3 weeks, right? So there's another aspect of that giving him pressure. But Armin, thank you for speaking with us today. Thank you very much.
Sure thing, Don. Have a nice day.
Israel's defense minister confirming the death of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's intelligence chief. Here's Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz making the announcement this morning.
The terrorist regime in Iran continues to launch missiles at the Israeli home front, killing and harming Israeli civilians. I was updated by the Chief of Staff that overnight in Tehran, the IDF eliminated Majid Khademi, head of the IRGC intelligence organization, one of those directly responsible for these war crimes and one of the three most senior figures in the organization.
The Iranian intelligence chief came into his position after Israeli airstrikes killed his predecessor last year. Defense Minister Katz is warning that if Iran continues firing at civilians in Israel, the military will strike and destroy Iran's national infrastructure. President Trump asking Congress for the largest increase to defense spending in decades. It would be paired with cuts to domestic programs. President Trump backs former UK advisor Steve Hilton in the California governor's race, heading into a crowded primary. More news after this break. Stay tuned.
You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you.
On streets across America, young people are homeless, abused, in danger. Covenant House is helping young people with nowhere else to turn. But the need is overwhelming. Please call or go online now with your gift of $19 a month. You'll help provide hot meals, safe shelter, medical care, and love to more than 2,000 young people who sleep at a Covenant House every night. Homeless young people are afraid and alone. Your monthly donation right now will show them they are loved and safe.
I have no words to express how Covenant House changed my life.
Call or go online now and give just $19 a month. We'll send you this comforting blanket as a reminder of the difference you're making in a young person's life.
I will rescue you.
Call or go online now to safeplacetosleep.org.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, regular $69.98. Now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
Congress still behind on funding the Department of Homeland Security, now set up for another budget battle. President Trump is asking Congress for a dramatic increase in defense spending paired with major cuts to domestic spending. Lawmakers are weighing in. NTD's Melina Weisskopf has the details.
On Friday, the White House sending Congress its official budget request for the next fiscal year. In it, the largest increase for defense spending in decades, $440 billion more for defense spending, totaling $1.5 trillion. The administration says it's needed to address growing concerns from China, Russia, and other adversaries. A key focus of the Pentagon budget is rebuilding weapons stockpiles and strengthening domestic manufacturing capacity.
Over the last 30 years, our defense industrial base consolidated and atrophied. China's shipbuilding capacity dwarfs ours. They are outproducing us on ships, drones, and munitions, and they have embedded themselves deep into our defense supply chains. The consequences are clear.
A top agenda item is roughly $66 billion to bolster shipbuilding and shipyard capacity. The plan would also continue funding for the Golden Dome, a national missile defense system. While Democrats were quick to reject the budget, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham quickly responded, saying the defense budget is more than justified by the threats the U.S. faces throughout the world. The increase for defense spending is coupled with cuts to domestic areas, including a 50% slash to the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA.
During my campaign, I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every new regulation, and we've exceeded that.
The president's budget sheds more than $15 billion from Biden-era green energy programs. Other cuts target the National Institutes of Health, Departments of Labor, Education, and Housing, seeking to eliminate around $10 billion for programs that it states have supported woke and leftist organizations. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats will fight tooth and nail to make sure the budget doesn't become law. With expected Democrat opposition, Republicans could try to fund some of the president's defense requests in a special budget bill, bypassing Democrats. Republicans are currently working on such an approach to fund immigration enforcement agencies.
A narrow bill that would fund ICE and CBP well into the future, so that this isn't something that, while President Trump is in office, we have to deal with again.
President Trump wants ICE and CBP funding by June 1st. As for the overall 2027 budget, the proposal now moves to Congress, where sharp debate will unfold in the coming months. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
President Trump is backing Steve Hilton in California's race for governor. Hilton served as a top advisor to former British Prime Minister David Cameron. He faces a competitive field in the June 2nd primary. Here's more.
Under California's primary system, the top two finishers move on to November, regardless of party. President Trump, writing on Truth Social, Steve Hilton has my complete and total endorsement. Polls show Hilton and Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco among a tight group of candidates, including Democrats Eric Swalwell, Katie Porter, and Tom Steyer. Current Governor Gavin Newsom is term limited and cannot run again. Republicans have not held the office since Arnold Schwarzenegger left in 2011. And in Georgia, voters are set to vote tomorrow on a replacement for former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Republican Clay Fuller and Democrat Sean Harris are in a runoff. The winner will complete Greene's term, but both say they'll also run in November. Fuller supports the conflict in Iran, while Harris calls it a war of choice. The Northwest Georgia district is heavily conservative. Democrats are watching to see if the election could be a bellwether for other races.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is closing a probe into Tesla. Launched early last year, the investigation focused on Tesla's Actually Smart Summon feature after several reported crashes. Now, Actually Smart Summon allows users to move vehicles over short distances using a smartphone app. The agency found that the feature was linked to low-speed incidents resulting in minor property damage. Most reported incidents involved vehicles hitting obstacles like parked cars, garage doors, or gates. About 100 crashes had been reported, but no injuries or fatalities. None of the reported incidents involved a major crash, airbag deployment, or vehicle tow. The agency said Tesla has addressed the issue with a series of software updates. Tesla's driver assistance and self-driving features remain under regulatory scrutiny. In October, the agency launched a probe following reports of traffic safety violations and a number of crashes. President Trump celebrating the daring rescue mission that saved 2 U.S. airmen from Iran. What he says will happen next to Iran. More after this. Stay with us.
Whispered across generations, a hidden secret unveils the essence of longevity and vitality. A timeless legend regarding energy and wonder. Rooted in ancient health wisdom, we proudly introduce Pure Tang Black Ginseng, a 100% natural, organic energy drink made from premium 6-year-old Korean ginseng. It takes 2,260 days and nights from seed to growth, undergoing a meticulous 9-step process of steaming and drying. Black ginseng reaches its full potency, enriched with ginsenoside RG3 and enhanced absorption efficiency. No sugar, no caffeine, no artificial ingredients. Experience the pure natural power of Puretang Black Ginseng. Nourish your body, strengthen your immunity, and boost your energy. To order Puretang Black Ginseng, please visit puretang.com.
Tired of struggling with that heavy leaf blower? Introducing the Bullseye Power Blower. It delivers a massive blowing force, and yet it's so compact and lightweight. Just lock and load the rechargeable battery for long-lasting runtime. The secret is the compact turbocharged motor with jet burst technology that blasts out 21,000 RPMs of airflow. Watch this. The sheer force propels this woman across the pool. Look, use Bullseye to blow up a huge jump house. Now that's power. Even blows snow right off your vehicle in no time. Turbo clean your porch in a flash or tidy up your dirty garage floor in seconds. Get it today for just $99.99. But wait, act now and get a $20 discount. So it's only $79.99. Plus, you'll get the adjustable extension tube. Yours free. And it all comes with free shipping. Order now.
Call 1-800-209-2313 or go to bullseyeblower.com. That's 1-800-209-2313 or order online at bullseyeblower.com. Order now.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
They're just young people, hungry, homeless, and vulnerable. Covenant House is helping young adults facing homelessness. We're providing safe shelter to thousands, but the need is overwhelming. Please call or go online now. With your gift of $19 a month, we'll send you this blanket as a reminder of the comfort your gift provides a young person tonight. You'll provide safe shelter, hot meals, and medical care. Call the number on your screen or go online to safeplacetosleep.com.